All right, today we're going to be going over harmony, monotone, analogous, complementary, split complementary, triad, and disharmony. And I think there's chromatic as well. So let's get into it. A color harmony is and this is quoting straight from the book here, relationships among colors are critical to the success or failure of a design, and many theories of color harmony help artists, architects, and designers make good choices. Color harmony is basically a concept or theory for making choices when you're selecting what colors to use. All right. So, first one we're going to talk about is tilt that up to a little bit. Monochromatic. So it's going to be one color. What you get from a monochromatic color scheme is a high level of unity because you're only using that color and then a shift either with tint or tone or shade. You end up with a lack of variety when you use a monochromatic color scale, though. So there's not a lot of sort of range of color that you can use. You're just working with that one color. Next up is analogous, and these are going to be adjacent colors. So it's colors, whatever your primary color is, you can shift it a little bit above and below that. You end up with a high degree of unity and a wider range of hues for more variety. So you can see in the picture here, this one actually extends a little bit more, I'd say, to the yellow-green area, even to yellow with some of those specific cups in the background. But you can see how you have a high degree of unity, but a slightly larger range of hues than you would if you were using a simple monochromatic scheme. Next is complementary, and this is going to be complete opposites on the other side of the color wheel, right? You end up with a lot lower intensity, and as you mix complementary colors, because they're passing kind of through the middle here, you end up with browns. Especially with these two colors, you'll end up with some really strong browns. And so you kind of can lower the temperature, kind of muddy painting with that. Let's move on. Split complementary. So this is a complementary where in this case it would have been a yellow, green, and red, violet complementary, except that instead of using yellow, green, you use green or yellow. So this one uses that, a lot of the red, violet, and then mixes it with this yellow and the green, and you end up with, again, some kind of muddy hues, but it kind of makes a nice complement to each other in there. You end up with a wider range of options of colors that you can use, and again, you can kind of circle them any way through the color wheel that you want. A triad, I called it an equidistant triangle on the color wheel. I didn't like the way that the book defined it. That's just me. But you end up with kind of colors that are really far apart. They're very strong, bold designs. And you can see from this example here with that red, orange, the blue, and then this set of yellow, green colors around here, they contrast with each other very highly. So you can get some really kind of strong designs from that. But they're not necessarily going to be, I don't consider them attractive to look at. It's open to interpretation, I guess. Chromatic grays and earth colors. So chromatic gray is going to be a gray and a mix of various hues. That's kind of what we did with the exercise yesterday, was we were kind of going for chromatic black. But if you don't go as deep, you add some white into it, you end up with a chromatic gray. And then earth colors, raw and burnt sienna, raw and burnt umber, and yellow ochre. Those are colors that you're, again, just kind of like I was saying, we're not going to be able to mix every color. Sometimes you have to go for a raw pigment. A lot of these colors here are ones that you would have a lot of trouble kind of mixing from primaries. So the reason why you would buy one of these specific paints is so that you can kind of get to that point really easily, and it can usually be a bit outside of your color range. Disharmony can be as effective as harmony. It has an unusual look, and it kind of I don't know, it creeps. It's kind of creepy, like especially with this painting right here. Um, it kind of looks like the bodies in there are diseased a little bit. That's what the book had mentioned. I should have blown that image up a little bit larger. But disharmony usually, it results in unusual things. It can be bold. So in this case, this example, we have a yellow and a fuchsia. That's a very strong, contrast right there. to put that together. So that's the lecture, nice and short for today. And then I will see you guys in the exercise.